What's going on? It's your boy DJ Jerry J / KGH Jerry, and we are here, well, outside of it now. We just got done eating at the place that makes the best waffles ever, especially after the club. And if they tooth ain't missing, I don't want to eat their food at all. We at Waffle House. So, and this is another episode of Chopping It Up. So where we interview different people and see what they have going on and dig deeper into their story, you know. So now today we got a comedian, Deonte Bailey. Thank you for coming on the show today.
I appreciate it.
So how you doing today?
I'm full. Just got done eating at Waffle House. I'm full and blessed.
You feeling like you know, ready to go to sleep full, or you Thanksgiving full?
Just full, ready to chill full, yeah.
Okay.
Not sleep though, not chill.
So tell me about yourself. Like, you from Ohio, right? So
Cleveland, Ohio, East Side, yeah.
So how did you end up in Tennessee?
I was getting into a lot of trouble, really, when I was in Cleveland. When I was younger, I'm gonna say around five years old, all the way to like 11, I was getting in trouble, like nonstop. Not no like criminal trouble, but you know, like trouble in school, fighting in school, you know, stuff like that. My uncle that I was living with up there, he was like, "Hey, it's time. I can't just be dealing with this." You know, he was getting older in age, and he didn't want to like have to keep running to get me, you know, out of situations and stuff like that. He was like, "You just gonna have to move down south with my sister." And my auntie, she came up there and got me, and I've been down here with her ever since.
Okay, that's what's
2013 is when I moved here.
2013 when you moved down here?
Yep.
So my next question is, how did you get into comedy? Like, have you always made people laugh, or just picked it up and decided like, I'm gonna be funny today?
Okay, now this is an actual story. So I noticed that when I was like in fourth grade, I'm gonna say, no, fifth grade for sure. When I was in fifth grade, I noticed that a good way that was making people laugh was when I started impersonating like Smokey from Friday, or you know, things like that. And I wouldn't impersonate him, like do his voice, but I would like do his same catchphrases and stuff. Yeah. I would do the same thing with Day from Friday and stuff like that. Money Mike, things like that. People started laughing because, you know, we all seen the movie, we all laughed at it, so whenever we hear it again, it's funny. Right. And I was like, okay, let me see something else. Let me try to get something from a different movie. So I started watching Rush Hour. To this day, Rush Hour 2 is my favorite movie. I would listen to Chris Tucker do some of the catchphrases on there. I would start doing that at school, and people start laughing again. So I'm like, okay, Chris Tucker like my secret to comedy right now. So I started going on YouTube. I was like, let me see if he do anything else. So I just typed in his name, and some videos popped up from Def Comedy Jam when he was doing stand-up on Def Comedy Jam. And then I saw how he did this joke about Michael Jackson being a pimp, and how the entire crowd just loved it, how they fell out with it, how they just they erupted with laughter. And I saw the whole crowd just jump out of their seats, holler, scream, and how much they loved it. I was like, oh yeah, I want to make people do what he doing. Right. So that started making me dive deeper into that art form. I started watching Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac. I was going deeper to that. I was going Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, and then Eddie Murphy, then Richard Pryor, Red Fox, you know, stuff like that. After that, it just became an obsession. So that's like
it kind of attached to yourself.
Yeah, that's just been my goal, just like to make somebody laugh.
That's what's up. So, you know, you was just telling us how you kind of got into it, but what was your first gig ever? Like, your first comedy show, and how did you get the gig and stuff like that?
The very first, I'm assuming you want to know the very first time I was on stage.
Yeah.
The very first time I was on stage was December 20th, 2020. It was a Sunday night at Brickyard Bar and Grill here in West Knoxville. I went the week before to do it, but they wasn't doing it that week. They was doing a showcase of some comedians that they had booked from out of town. Mm-hmm. So I was there watching. I was just looking around, seeing, okay, what kind of jokes this crowd laugh at. What really gets them, you know. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm gonna go home this whole week. I'm gonna just think of brainstorm jokes, a 5-minute set that relates to everything they was talking about, but in my way. Right. And then I took it that next week. I did it. I went on like 3rd or 4th, and My first time actually went very well. I know a lot of people be like, their first time was terrible and they bombed bad and stuff like that. But my first one was actually like good. Like it made me fall up right there. Now my second time ever. Oh, that was in Atlanta because we was on Christmas break. I went to Atlanta for Christmas and I got on stage with my dude Derek down there. And I didn't know at the time that it was possible to do shows in a room full of comedians. I didn't know that. I thought that, you know, every time you out doing a show, that people gonna laugh just because, you know, one, you a comedian, you there to make them laugh, and two, they all normal. They all like, oh, I can't do what he doing, so I'm gonna respect that.
Yeah.
It was about 50 people in there. All 50 of them were stand-up comedians. And nobody laughed for the whole 8 minutes I was on stage.
For real?
Yeah. Now, they was coming to me after the show like, oh, yeah, you was funny and stuff like that. So I'm like, why wasn't y'all laughing? They was like, oh, this is a room full of comedians. Everybody in here think they better than everybody else, so they're not going to really laugh at that.
Okay. So that kind of that kind of goes into my next question. Are you ever worried or nervous getting on stage?
Nah, not no more. I used to be. When I first got on stage, I was kind of calm because I had my homegirl with me, and it was only like maybe 10 people in the audience. So small crowds used to be the ones that didn't affect me. Then the more I started doing it, though, I started doing small crowd after small crowd after small crowd. I was like, man, I'm trying to do something bigger. But then that's when I noticed that as I'm doing something bigger, I'm still adjusting to all these small ones and adjusting to getting on stages that now I'm not even scared to get on stage.
Right.
Now, what does make me nervous sometimes and make me think a lot is, are they going to laugh at this? Are they going to laugh when I say this? Are they going to catch my joke before I even get to the punchline? That's things I think about. But as far as like hyperventilating or sweating or being real nervous about going on stage, nah, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
No.
So I had to ask because we planned this this interview like a week ago.
Last week, yeah.
What made you pick Waffle House out of all the places I could have interviewed you at?
My OG, Carlos Miller. For people who probably don't know, I've been hanging with the big dogs here lately, so I'm always conversating with them. And I've seen an old interview where Carlos Miller was doing something similar to what we were doing right now, and it was at the Waffle House. So I was like, you know what? I ain't had Waffle House in a minute. I was like, let's go and roll to Waffle House while we had this interview.
For sure. So, what motivates you to keep pushing and keep going even when you don't feel like doing nothing?
The outcome of what I've seen come out of what I'm doing. So like when I see Kevin Hart sell out Madison Square Garden, or when I see him sell out football stadiums and going on these mega city world tours and having to make 3 or 4 separate legs of the tours just to do other countries that comedians just don't go. And then when I see like the movies that you can be in from doing it, the TV shows you can be in from doing it, how it can help build a lifestyle for your family, how you can buy all these things that you might have dreamed of as a kid, wanting to make sure your auntie taken care of, wanting to make sure that when I have kids, they taken care of.
Facts.
Just being legendary keeps me motivated. Wanting to be legendary.
So I noticed you said your OG was Carlos Miller, right? So how did you meet like all those comedians and stuff like that?
I had a strategy that I was doing where I felt guilty about it at first because I was like, oh, when I look at it, I was thinking maybe it's a finesse thing I'm doing, but it's really not. It's called networking. And to be real with you, I was doing networking before I knew what networking was. I didn't know that I was networking. I just thought that this is something that I probably should do.
Right.
So I would go to comedy clubs in Nashville to watch comedians headline. And I know you know, they famous people, so you know they ain't got time to just open messages and stuff like that. But their openers aren't famous people. The people that travel with them.
Right. So
I was thinking in my mind, you know, if I can build a relationship with the people that open for these headliners, maybe it can get me in position to where I could talk to them and to where they can get me in position to chill with the headliners and, you know, people they talk to and stuff like that. Like the very first comedian I ever went to go see was Eddie Griffin. I saw him in Nashville. Then the next month was Carlos Miller. It didn't click to me till then because his opener, his name is Chris Jones. That's my OG, like, for sure. He put out his Instagram and asked people to follow him. So when I followed him, I remember saying, "Hey, you killed that show. I really fuck with it. Keep continuing to making us laugh and stuff like that. I feel like you're gonna be in a headliner position one day." He loved the message. He texted me back, appreciate it, and thank you, you know, stuff like that. I asked him, did he have any advice for me? Because I hadn't gotten into comedy at the moment. I hadn't got into it yet. I said, do you have any advice? And then he texted me back like it wasn't a problem to him. So we started texting back and forth. And then around March or April, I was about 3 or 4 months in, he had a show in Chattanooga where he was headlining. And I said, I'll come on down to Chattanooga and fuck with you because I'm anxious to meet you. He was like, okay, bet. Then he texted me back later on that day saying, hey, I can get you on the show if you want to get on the show. And I was like, yeah, I'll get on the show with you. So he called me back with details to being on the show. We meet down there. I have a good show. He have a good show. Then we just swap like phone numbers, and now he like really, really fuck with me. So, So when I found out he was gonna be in Cleveland with Carlos, I was like, hey, you know, since you're gonna be up in my hometown, you know, I got people there and everything. I can tell them to come out to the show, come out and see who been, you know, supporting me, and then, you know, maybe I could probably meet Carlos too. He was like, man, pull up. I was like, bet. So I flew out to Cleveland to be with my family for that weekend, and then during them nights of the weekend that he was there, I came down, and then for a night that I thought I was just gonna be able to just, you know, chill with Carlos and something, it turned into a weekend. So I chilled with Carlos that whole weekend. Like, that's crazy. Just fucking with him. So I was like, so basically how I met all the famous people I met is because I grew relationships with people that's around them. Right. And that's how they got me to these people.
Which is networking.
Right.
But you thought it was finessing.
I thought I was finessing. I felt guilty for it.
Yeah, and really that's how I feel like networking works, you know. Like I said, I feel like right now, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to network with everybody, be in a position to work with everybody and anybody. But that's a smart way that you figure that out on your own for real.
Yeah.
So why is, because I checked out your Instagram. I hope I can get a follow back, but
I don't follow you back.
Nah, not yet. But
I thought I did. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good. But in your bio it says, why? Well, not. I'm gonna ask you this: why is Road to Wildin' Out and Road to Saturday Night Live in your bio? Is that like a goal that you've set for yourself, or?
Yeah, I want to. This is the game plan. You know, of course, game plans might end up changing. Yeah. Because of, as far as like, you know, timing and things like that. But the game plan is how comedy works, especially for like a comedian that's not known right now. In order to get booked at these clubs, you either gotta, you know, do showcases, you know, and in order to do showcases, you gotta send a 5-minute clip of you, you know, doing clean comedy. But you can't be just doing clean comedy. You gotta,
what is that for? Because I don't know. So what is clean comedy? Clean
comedy is when you're not really cussing. So like, so like you could perform for children, or you could perform in front of a church, you know, stuff like that. So you gotta do 5 minutes of clean comedy, but not only just 5 minutes of clean comedy, you gotta be ripping. Like, you gotta be tearing the stage up with this 5 minutes of clean comedy. So that's cool, you know, and you can do that. You could record it, send it to somebody, but now you gotta worry about, are they gonna select this video? Are they gonna pick you? Are they gonna do this? And it's possible that could probably happen. Or you could take a route where you don't have to do that. So, like, for example, Desi Banks is somebody else I also had the pleasure of meeting and having a deep conversation with and performing with. He became a social media sensation first. The fact that he built his following. He had almost, 1 million to 2 million followers before he started going on the road. And then when he had these 2 million followers, that caused him to get movie credits. He had a movie credit for where he was in that movie with the girl where it's called Little, you know, where the woman becomes the girl and then she gotta like act right to become the woman again or something like that. So he was in that. And plus, and by him being a social media star, that's credits that you can add onto your resume.
Right.
So if you have them credits, you know, clubs will book you based off that because they know that you'll bring people to their club to watch. The fact that Desi had 2 million followers, he could tell somebody, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be at this club this day. You know, we know you got 2 million followers, so we can assume at least 1 million people gonna see it."
Right.
And this club only fit 150 people, so at least 150 out of that million that's interested will come. So that's how that works. And when you have that big of a following, that following can come from something you're popular on. So my secret was to try to get booked on Wild 'N Out, you know, to where I could build my fan base through the TV and to the people that come to like Wild 'N Out shows, and then also Saturday Night Live. Because I'm a fan of Saturday Night Live, but I know that that's more of a Caucasian audience, and I know that Wild 'N Out is more of an African American audience. And if I was a fan favorite on both, that means when I have a show, my crowd gonna be mixed.
A mixture of people.
So basically, the road to Wild 'N Out and the road to Saturday Night Live is a goal that's gonna set me up to be successful in the club route, to where I can get booked, to where I don't have to keep kicking doors down, to where I can finally get invited in. You know.
Yeah, in open arms.
I ain't trying to kick doors down forever. I will, but I ain't trying to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like you kind of talked about it, but who did you look up to growing up as far as like a comedian?
Chris Tucker was first.
Yeah,
he was first. Chris Tucker and Mike Epps was first, and Cat Williams a little bit. Then I started thinking of Kevin Hart became big on me. Chris Rock started to grow around the same time Kevin Hart was getting big on me. Then I started going deeper to like Richard Pryor and you know, Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, things like that. Martin Lawrence, of course, as far as TV and things like that. But the person that inspires me most right now, and it's because I've been to like shows and I've seen comedians rip. As far as a comedy club, aside from Carlos Miller, because he's my favorite right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going based off of statistics right now. Because Carlos is my favorite. Carlos is a person that he follows me on Instagram. You know, he's cool with me. He likes me enough. But the comedian who I'm actually gonna have a pleasure to meet in the coming weeks, that I feel like is the best, that inspires me most on comedy, is Lavell Crawford. And I say him because when he did his show in Nashville, and his ending joke, you would literally think, if you was on the outside of the club, that a brawl was going on in the inside, just based off of how loud he had the building from laughing. Like, it was so damn loud. And then when I think about it, it's kind of fucked up because the joke was about a retarded kid. But I mean, you know, funny is funny, and he killed that joke. That he inspires me. Dave Chappelle, you know, D.L. Hughley, that's a big one. D.L. Hughley's a big one for me. But if I had to give you just a solid answer, I gotta say Carlos Miller.
For sure. The next question I got for you. So I know you're a comedian, of course, and I know it's been a lot of funny things that's done happen to you in your life. But what's the funniest thing that's done happen to you? Like, what's the funniest thing
that's not even comedy for real? Just happened. And when I look back on it, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it don't even have to be comedy.
I got a lot of them, man. One that comes to mind that makes people laugh when I tell them. Okay, so this one time I got caught stealing from Dollar Tree. No, was it Dollar Tree? It was one of them like dollar stores, Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, something like that. Now this was before they put the stuff that's behind the counters. Now behind the counters, you gotta think, this is back when I was like 7, 8 years old, maybe 6. I'm going into the store and I'm picking up a box of stuff of what I'm thinking are balloons. Cause I was gonna blow up some balloons for my birthday. And the balloons turned out to be condoms.
I knew you was going there.
And all I'm saying is I can't be the only person that ever thought condoms were balloons at first. And I'm gonna tell you why. Cause my mama used to blow them condoms up and make them into balloons, which is why I thought they were balloons originally. I did not think they were condoms. Now that I think about it, though, I'm like, dang, that was really crazy. The fact that my mama never told me what they was before I did that.
Before you did it.
Before I even did that.
That is funny. I ain't gonna lie, cause as soon as you started talking about balloons, I was like, all right, I know where this is going.
I'm trying to think, is there some more? Cause I done did some crazy things, but I want a good one, like a good one to where like, a lot of people be laughing when I tell them about that daggone car I bought. I bought a car for $500. And I remember I was working I was working at McDonald's then. I was working like non-stop. This is like right when COVID hit too.
Yeah.
Like in the heart, like March of COVID. So I get the $800 check. I rip $300 to my auntie. I take $500 because the dude said that's all I need for the down payment. I take it. He say these are the only 2 cars I got for the $500 down payment. One was a minivan, the other one was a Ford Taurus, like a '97 Taurus. And since I knew somebody that drove one, I was like, okay, I guess that's cool. Let me test drive it. I test drove it down the street, went around, came back, and it was driving smooth. I said, okay, yeah, I fuck with it. I'll get it. I signed all the papers and everything, give him the money. He give me the keys. I pull out the lot. And it wasn't until I pulled right off the lot, because you know they say, once you pull off the lot, whatever happens to the car is your responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I'm driving slow off the lot to make sure don't nothing happen, to the car before I get off this lot. No, as soon as I hit like off the curb, I'm looking around the car to make sure everything's straight. And I look on the side and I notice the passenger side mirror is gone. I'm like, okay, that ain't major. I'm cool with that. I'll go get that fixed. I drive down the street. I get on the interstate. I get off the interstate. Right on James Parkway.
Yeah.
As soon as I get off the interstate, I just notice my hot meter is all the way on, like hot. So I'm like, the car cool though. Maybe there's just something wrong with it. Maybe that's why the car was so cheap, was a down payment, because it just got a problem and needs to be fixed. Nobody don't want to fix it. But now I'm looking up at the light. I can't even see the light because the car is surrounded by smoke. I open the door. I get out the car. It's just smoke everywhere. The car behind me blowing. The car behind that car blowing. Like they can't see because there's smoke all over the place. I look back. I damn near got the whole interstate smoked. I'm like, how did I not see this shit while I'm driving?
He was literally driving a hot box.
Yeah. So I remember taking it to my barber to see if because I know he work on cars. He told me he said, hey, look, while that place still open, you need to go and get your money back. Tell him this car is torn up. I said, all right. I get back in the car, I start it up, it don't start. After I cut it off. That was my first time cutting it off.
Yeah.
I know that when he jumped it for me and got it back working, I want to listen to the radio. So I turn the radio on and start working. Then I drive it, cut off. Then I stop it, turn back on. Then I drive it, cut off. I was like, okay, yeah, this is the worst car I could have possibly ever bought in my life.
$500 car.
Long story short, I took the car back, but I didn't get my money back. So I was out of $500. I basically rented a messed up car for a day.
$500.
That's basically what I did.
And you was literally driving the hot box.
That's more sad than funny though.
Yeah.
That's a sad story, man.
The balloon was a little bit funny.
Man, fuck that story, man. I hate that happened to me.
So, dang, somebody was trying to break into somebody's car. Was there a time someone doubted your skills or your talent? And what did you do and how did you feel?
Yeah. I got not friends. I mean, I had friends that doubted. Like, I got a home girl. I ain't gonna call her a friend, really. Just somebody I know, an associate.
Yeah.
I'll post a skit on Instagram. She'll call me an hour later just to tell me it's not funny.
That's lame, though.
That's lame, yeah. She'll do that, though. She will. She'll call me just to tell me that shit ain't funny. She'll not like it, you know. I done doubted myself sometimes. I done got on stages and been like, okay, ain't no way I can just rip this crowd. I just gotta wing it. And then them the crowd that I done destroyed. So, what I do about it is I just continue to think positive. I know that's easier said than done. I know that, I'll tell you what, I hope my car battery isn't fucked up. But, because we just had this light go out on us.